fading away. Almost lost forever and leaving no trace. Floating through the darkest reaches of space to another galaxy. Our polarity shifted around. There was nothing else left holding us down. And it's just gravitational. We are unstoppable.
KCYP 97.7 FM. Welcome to another edition of Evolving in the RGV with Elsa Medina. We want to welcome everyone that's watching us over YouTube. We want to welcome everyone that's watching us over Facebook Live, the 97.7 FM if you're driving around McAllen, Edinburgh area. If you're catching us on our website, thecity977.com, or on the TuneIn radio app, the City 977. Thank you for joining us. We have an excellent interview, and I'm going to let Elsa introduce our guest for today.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe, for the intro, and thank you to everyone that is listening on another Thursday night of Evolving in the RGV. So tonight, Joe, we're going to learn. Tonight we're in class. We're always interviewing, we're always learning, but today I'm going to learn with you. Okay, today I have my friend Joey Estrada with me. He's a real estate agent, and he's going to inform us things that we should know and things that are important for us to know. I realized that now when I was going to interview him. So Joey, tell us what do you do?
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for having me on. Really do appreciate it.
Of course.
Alrighty. So for the last 6 years, or almost going on 6 years, I've been helping families, investors, as well as individuals and business owners. Both. This one over here. Perfect. So I've been assisting clients, of course, both buy and sell property, right? So for really anything that's real estate related, we're able to go ahead and assist. So that's been for going on 6 years now. For the last almost 2 years, I've also been building. So gotten into construction. So yes, definitely trying to expand a little bit more in the field of real estate.
Nice. You're trying to evolve with it as it goes.
Oh yes, absolutely. So I mean, as we keep on going, I keep on seeing different opportunities that are presented. I mean, of course, it's always learning, right? So I know that you said that right now you guys are learning from whatever it is that I can share.
Yes.
But I mean, I'm still learning on a daily basis as well, right? So in real estate, it's awesome. I mean, I'm truly passionate about it because I feel like you never really reach a cap, right? So you're always able to continue growing, evolving. My primary focus has been mainly in the residential market for the last 6 years. I have done a little bit of commercial, a little bit of land listing, but it's been primarily helping families buy or sell their homes.
Nice. So the little bit that I do know, I know there's difference. There's a difference between residential and there's a difference between commercial. Can you explain to me, Joe, and whoever's listening, the difference between these two?
Yes, of course. So as a real estate agent, we're able to go ahead and assist basically with any real estate transaction, right? Whether that's for a residential purchase or a commercial purchase. But the difference is really in the type of property for the client, right? So for the most part, how can I say? I guess for residential, it would be very emotional driven, right?
Yeah.
So for residential, it's a lot of, hey, you know what? I absolutely love this home. I must have it. Or I grew up in this neighborhood. I want to live in this neighborhood. Or maybe, my mother-in-law, father-in-law, right? Or my mom live in the area, so I want to stay here in the area. Versus commercial, it is almost an entirely different animal, right? So that is practically number driven, right? So you're focused on foot traffic or just the traffic in the area, right? Depending on the type of business you have. You're also focused on cap rates, right? If you're talking about now rental properties, you're trying to figure out more or less what the return will be for your purchase, right? So don't want to get too far into it. I know that can get a little bit more confusing or complicated, but that's the main difference, right? Residential is mainly emotion driven, as well as, obviously you're working with just your general public. Commercial is a lot more investing, business owners, or just in particular for different types of needs, right? If you have somebody, for example, a doctor that's looking for a plaza, you need to make sure that where you're finding the location for that doctor, it's good as far as, foot traffic, or if there's other medical plazas around, right?
Nice. So you're good at being emotionally driven.
Yes.
You'll satisfy the wife, let me tell you. Because, right, happy wife, happy life.
Yes, for the most part, that is that's what we've seen. So Of course, right? I mean, husbands like to put their input as well, but for the most part, whenever children or wife like the home, it's usually a done deal, right? Because at that point, they're gonna put pressure on the husband or on the breadwinner to kind of make it,
Manipulate.
I mean, absolutely.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with manipulation when it's done for the right reasons, I would say.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, so I mean that's going to be the main difference between residential and commercial. But of course, it does get a little bit further into detail when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, I guess. So you do definitely need to make sure that whatever agent you're going to be using is experienced in whatever field you're using them for, right? So for example, and I may be shooting myself here in the foot, but I'm going to be very honest with you guys.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I may not be the best agent for commercial, right? Because for the last 6 years, my primary focus has been residential. So I can tell you what property is selling for in different areas, right? So let's say that you're looking in Mission, McAllen, Edinburgh. I can tell you more or less what the price per square footage is going to be in those areas without even visiting that area.
But as a real estate agent, let me tell you something. Like if I want to start a business and I need a commercial area, would you be able to explain to me and kind of guide me through it?
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
Because you're my friend and I trust you and I want to start that. Will you be able to help me?
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, as we continue going, I'm sure that we're going to get into it a little bit more. What is most important is to have your support team, right? So as an agent, even as a new agent, I know that during the pandemic era, a ton of people started their real estate journey, right? For lack of a better word, they started their real estate journey, which is awesome, right? I mean, it's always good to see new people coming in. They bring different ideas, and they also push us experienced agents to grow, of course, right? Gotta stay modern, stay with the times, and know what's going on.
Stay running.
Yes, absolutely. But for the most part, it's going to be very, very important for you to have a support team around you, somebody who might already be experienced. And for us as agents, that really relies a lot on the broker, right? So that's where it depends as to what company you're with. For example, a lot of people might recognize Remax Elite, right? That's one of the bigger name brand real estate companies. If somebody is starting here locally with Remax Elite, they may have that support system, right, set into play to where they're able to go ahead and, have any questions that they may have answered, or if they have any doubts, they're not sure how to proceed with something, there'll be somebody around them to go ahead and have that support for them.
You're not alone, right?
Exactly.
Everyone has a role in this.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So, okay, so how and when did you start real estate? Did you always know you wanted to get into real estate, or you just knew you wanted to be in sales and you just had a drive for momentum and that high of selling?
Sales, yeah. So I've always been involved in sales ever since, I think ever since I was like in middle school, maybe even elementary, selling the chocolates, going around knocking on doors. I've always been very sales driven. But no, actually real estate, I kind of stumbled across it. So
really?
In 2017, so I've been in real estate or around the real estate industry for almost 11 years. So at the age of 18, I started working.
You sound like you're really old.
No. So I'm 29, but from the age of
all my years.
but from the age of 18, I started working for the banking industry.
Okay.
Right. So that's where I started to really see the different potentials of, I guess, the real estate market, right? So when I worked there, I was really good at home equity loans, right? Which is basically you taking out money against the equity that you already have to be able to finance a purchase or maybe a remodel, right? I was really good at referrals for that since I understood the product. I was also really good at home equity lines of credit, which is what a lot of investors tend to use to be able to purchase properties in cash, right? I know it's pretty technical information, but yeah.
No, but it's awesome. I love listening to what different people do because they're so passionate about it, and I'm pretty sure like when I talk about what I do, they're like, what? And I sound like so passionate too, so I love hearing you talk about it.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I guess it just really comes down to whatever it is that you spend your time doing, right? And that's what I've told a lot of new agents as well. So whatever you put your 8 to 10 hours a day in overtime, that's what you're going to be good at, right? So if you're spending 5-6 hours a day trying to learn something, eventually you're going to become an expert at that, and people are going to look to you for information on that topic. So that's what I've kind of tried to position myself to be. But okay, so going back to how it is that I got started. In 2017, the bank that I was working for decided to close its doors here in the Valley, right? They basically closed everywhere from Dallas south.
Wow.
We weren't their desired market area for the most part. They were looking to go more digital, and we tend to get a lot of pushback, especially here in the Valley, for modernization, to be honest with you, right? I mean, when I worked at the bank, we still had people who wanted for us to help them, with their deposits or their withdrawals, and we were over here trying to push, like, no, you can take a picture with your phone now to deposit. So that was a little bit of an uphill battle. But anyways, point of the matter being, they decided to close down their doors. they did offer us an opportunity to go ahead and become licensed in something related to banking. One of the opportunities was real estate agent. Another one was a mortgage loan officer, which I was also interested in, but by that point I had become tired of being in an office setting. So
Yes.
I was looking more for, that daily distraction, driving around, looking at properties. To me, that seemed awesome, right? I was like, oh, sweet, I'm gonna get to go and make my own schedule as well.
Yeah.
No, dude, now in retrospect, it's definitely something to where I thought, hey, you know what, I might have a little bit of more free time. Whenever you become an independent contractor or own your own business, it's quite the opposite. You work more than what you were working before. But at
Now
least
it's your self-worth. It's the work you put in is the work you're going to get out.
that is
In
exactly.
that guilt, man.
Yes. And I mean, I honestly wouldn't I wouldn't have it any other way. I would much rather get paid for my effort than for my time.
Exactly.
Right? So that's going to be something that's important. But yeah, so in 2017, they decided to go ahead and close the doors. I went on my real estate journey, and I've been involved ever since. But thankfully, prior to that, I was able to go ahead and make some connections, right? So I was able to go ahead and talk to some builders, to some investors, and that's really what helped me, catapult into my real estate career. From banking, I started straight into real estate, and like I said, I've been doing it for almost 6 years now.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And how do you feel? Do you feel like it's been 6 years, or you feel like it's gone by so fast?
No. Now even that I'm talking about it, it actually seems like it's gone by way too fast. So, I mean, from 2017, we've seen so many things go on. And I mean, I know that agents that have been, in the business for 10, 15 years can even attest even greater, right? So, I mean, I was able to go ahead and see, pre-pandemic pricing, pre-pandemic what the real estate market was doing. Then during the pandemic, everything was just kind of, it's like they threw a wrench in the system,
Yes.
right? So everything just kind of went haywire. You had properties that before weren't selling for very expensive, now being well over, what we would have expected to see them being sold at. But then also you started having difficulty. You also started having difficulty with being able to get your offers approved. Since there was so many buyers and a lack of inventory during that time, people were overbidding for properties. I mean, there would be times where literally a property would hit the market, and in about 2 to 3 days, you already had 8, 10, 15 offers on that one property. So it was a little competitive. Now we've definitely seen to where it started to steady off a little bit more. So like I said, during these, what I would think has been a quick 5-6 years,
Yes.
I've definitely seen quite a bit of changes in the real estate market.
Did the pandemic affect you more in a positive way or in a negative way? I'm sure it affected you in both ways, but what would you say impacted you?
For business-wise, I would definitely say in a positive way. I mean, the fact that there was limited inventory, obviously anybody who was qualified to buy wanted to buy. For the most part, I feel like families got tired of their living situation. The fact that we were locked in for so long, they were looking for a bigger space, right? They were looking for different ways to entertain themselves. Maybe a bigger backyard, right? Or maybe something with a pool. Something with an office is something that we've seen grow, I would say by 10 times, right? So now people are really, really looking for properties that have in-home offices. Since so many people are now working from home, or maybe even a hybrid of office or home, they definitely want that specific area to work out of.
Yeah, and it's the way you say that your last 6 years have gone by so fast, it's only gonna go by faster. Where do you see real estate going next?
Okay, so the valley is growing incredibly fast. I want to say that maybe about 3-4 years ago, McAllen might have been the fastest growing city here in the valley. As of right now, Edinburgh has probably already surpassed that. So that's what we've been seeing. So, I mean, honestly, here in the valley, we're just going to continue seeing a higher influx of people coming in from even within the state and also out of state, which is something that I've seen myself over the last, maybe in the last 10 transactions that I've had. About 7 of those buyers have been from either out of state or from further up north in the state. And it's the same thing, right, that everybody who comes down into the valley keeps on saying. Our real estate prices are very cheap compared to what they're used to.
Yeah.
So we just see it as it continuing to grow dramatically here in the valley, as well as developments, right? So as I mentioned a little while ago, during the pandemic era, there was very, very limited inventory. So that drove prices through the roof, right? We were seeing prices go up, like never before. Now that it's kind of leveled off, the prices has kind of steadied off, but inventory is still, there's still a shortage in inventory. So that's something that we're still constantly battling with. People who are currently looking for properties to where they might have had 10, 15 options. Right now they have maybe 3 or 4, right?
Wow.
So that's kind of what we've seen. But again, I mean, I do definitely foresee real estate growing here in the Valley.
See, that's so interesting because even me, I see how much the Valley is growing. But you're seeing properties, you're seeing land
Yes.
grow. So you are the real one that is actually seeing it grow.
Yes, so I mean, I've also been, I guess, fortunate enough to become involved with different economic development centers throughout the Valley. So we are also very involved as to what.
I've seen some of that.
Yes, so
I
as
think you
to-
posted Palmview.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So we try to stay informed as to what developments are coming to what areas. And of course, all of this is so that way we can go ahead and provide a benefit to our clients, right? Of course, if we can go ahead and provide a benefit to ourselves sometimes, we'll definitely go ahead and do so. But for the most part, it's to pass on this information, right? So if I have an investor client that's looking in this area, I may be able to go ahead and advise them, hey, you know what, this area is going to have growth within the next 5-10 years, and here's the stats or here's the proof. So that's been something that's also, very, very beneficial. So as real estate agents, we get, I don't want to say access because the public in general has access, but we could become a little more informed as to what events are going on, and I guess, what circles we need to be a part of to make sure that we get the information that we need.
For sure, for sure. What is the difference between listing versus buyer's agents?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, so for every real estate transaction, there should be, keyword being should because there isn't always, but there should be 2 agents involved, right? One
Okay.
is going to be the buyer's agent and one is going to be the listing agent. This is regardless if it's residential or commercial. The listing agent is working in the best interest of the seller. Right? So they're trying to maximize the seller's
Right.
profits. They're trying to make sure that all of the terms in the contract are beneficial for the seller. Versus the buyer's agent is doing the exact same thing, but for the buyer, right? So that's where the negotiation part comes into play. And there's a very big saying, right, that a good negotiation means that neither party is happy, right? So
Are they
that's
both like having questions for each other, seeing
yes.
who? Okay.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, the biggest part is going to be the purchase price, right? That's what everybody always tries to negotiate on. But there's several other terms that we can go ahead and include in the contract, such as title policy, home warranty, closing costs. All of these are terms that if you have questions on, of course, you can go ahead and reach out to me directly, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. But there's different things that we can definitely go ahead and include in the offer beyond the sales price. So that's why it's very, very important for you to go ahead and speak to an agent, regardless of where you are in your transaction, right? Whether it's something that maybe you're just beginning to look for a property, maybe you've already been looking for a little while, or maybe you've already been experienced, right? Maybe, I mean, you've already bought 3-4 properties and you just have questions over what's changing in the
sure.
market now. It's always a good idea to go ahead and have an agent's number. That way, if you ever have any questions, you can reach out to somebody, and hopefully they'll be able to go ahead and provide you the answers that you're looking for.
So it seems like having a good agent is really important in this whole process. What is something that I should look for in an agent in the process of buying a home?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, I would say that having a good agent is very, very important. It's almost as important as, I mean, some people might think that I'm being a little dramatic, but it might be as important as you having, your attorney. I know that a lot of people have attorneys' numbers, right, to where it's the guy that you trust or the girl that you trust, right? A lot of people have doctors' numbers, right? Hey, you get sick, what happens, right? So when it relates to real estate, it's very important for you to have that go-to person as well that is considered, I guess, a quote-unquote expert in the field. But to answer your question, several things that I think would be good in an agent, primarily would be for them to have good communication skills. Right, so that's something that's going to be very, very, very important, and that goes beyond just the client. You need to have good communication skills with, for example, in my case that I primarily represent buyers, I need to have good communication skills with both the listing agent and the escrow officer, which the escrow officer is the one that's taking care of all your legal documentation, right? Beyond that, you also need to make sure that you have good communication with your lender. The lender is going to be very, very important when it comes down to what is required for your financing. So all of these different moving pieces are what constitutes the real estate transaction. There's also, appraisers that become involved, surveyors that become involved. So all of these are things that you need to make sure that everybody's getting the information that they need in a timely manner to make sure that you're one, closing on time, but also, and most importantly, protecting your client, because you have a time frame for each and every single stage, right? So as long as that you're sticking within your time frames that you put down in the contract, your earnest money will be protected, right? So there's several different things that go along with that. And again, very important for you to have a knowledgeable agent. So again, the first one I would say would be communication. The second one would be the amount of time that they dedicate to real estate. If they're doing it part-time, I would say be a little cautious, right? I mean, especially again, if you're a buyer in the market, let's say that, you know, you're available to see a property today at 2, but you have an agent that's doing it part-time because they have another job and they're not available. You could potentially lose that property because your agent wasn't available, right? So that's another important part, the amount of time that they're putting into the, real estate. I would say that the third one, which also kind of piggybacks off of fourth and fifth, would be for them to have a team built around them, right? So this kind of goes back to what I was telling you earlier. You want to make sure that you have your appraisers, your surveyors, your attorneys, your escrow officers, your lenders. You want to make sure that you have all of these people in your network, per se, so that way you can go ahead and refer your clients to the right people, right? I mean, again, in this business,
trust them.
Yes, absolutely. So I mean, in this business, time is very important, but also making sure that, you know, that they're being taken care of in a right way. So again, building a team around them is very, very important. As I mentioned earlier, especially for newer agents. If you're a new agent that's, you know, maybe 6 months, a year in this business, definitely build a solid team around you so that if you do run into any questions, which I'm sure you will, because we all have, you have somebody to go ahead and contact to give you the correct information. And again, the fourth and fifth one are just going to kind of piggyback off of them. Experience in their specific area is very important. As I mentioned, I'm primarily experienced in residential real estate. So if you're looking for somebody that's, you know, more focused on commercial, if you're dealing with a big time, you know, investment client, that might be something that you want to go ahead and make sure that you're getting with a commercial real estate agent, right? And then lastly, it's going to be problem solver, right? So you want to make sure that the agent that you're working with, how can I say? I guess not only doesn't take, you know, no for an answer, but looks for different ways to make things happen, right? So everything in real estate is negotiable, which is both good and bad thing, right? So meaning that you're able to go ahead and make deals happen. You just have to figure out the right way to structure it and the right way for both people to be okay with the terms, right? So being a problem solver is also very, very important. I've had agents that, you know, that I've come across to where they're like, oh no, you know, they said no, and that's just, you know, kind of what it is. And again, right, if you maybe you just push a little bit more, you try to explore different options, you can really do a benefit for your client by getting them the home that they love and want to move forward with.
You know, as a buyer and I'm looking for a home, this is a long-term, life-changing decision. So I want to be able to trust my agent and know that if I have a question and I don't feel safe about something, you're going to make me feel better. So I think problem solving is really important.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I feel the primary focus or the primary role of an agent is to be a facilitator, right? For the most part, we tend to take on a lot of the stress that the client, you know, doesn't need to take on.
Wow.
We do this on a day in, you know, on a daily basis, practically, right? So it's something that we're very, very comfortable with, something that we're very familiar with. I understand that a lot of people, you know, maybe they buy 2-3 houses during their lifetime on different stages that they go through. At this point, I mean, you know, man, I think over the last 6 years, I've done maybe over 150, 200 transactions. You know what I mean? So it's something that I've definitely become very comfortable with, as well as knowing, you know, the policies, procedures, and guidelines that we need to go ahead and follow.
So what would you say, out of all the qualities that you just named me, you're so easy to click on the good qualities of agents. What is Joey's best quality? What makes you different from other agents?
I would say communication. I think that communication is very, very, very important. Yes. Yeah, because I mean, the moment it is that you, you know, get introduced to your client, you need to make sure that you're meeting their needs, right? I mean, at the end of the day, what good is it, for example, if I'm going to be sending, you know, $300,000-$400,000 homes to a client that is looking at $200,000, right? Which is also very, very important for, I guess, clients to go ahead and follow what we would recommend would be the ideal procedure for a real estate transaction, right? I know that for the most part, clients tend to, you know, jump the gun and they get very excited. So they start looking for properties already, right? And I've had a few clients that have also told me like, oh, well, you know, I'm already looking for properties. I don't have to go through the loan process because I know I'll get qualified, which, okay, perfect. Makes sense. You know, you have good credit, you make decent income, and you don't have a lot of debt. But who's to say that, maybe you do qualify for that $300,000 home, but what if you're not okay with the monthly payment, right? So that's where it's really going to come down to you meeting with your lender, right? Making sure that you're crunching the numbers, and more than anything, making sure that you're okay with your monthly payment, because that's what it really comes down to, right? That's what you're going to be seeing every single month go out of your bank account.
Yes.
It's nice to know what the sales price is, but ultimately what we see on a constant basis is going to be your mortgage payment.
For sure.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so that's going to be I would say, in my opinion, would be the first step. Go ahead and speak to your lender and learn where your finances are. If you tell the lender, hey, you know what, I want to purchase a property up to $250,000, make sure that your lender tells you what that monthly payment is going to look like, and that it's something that you're okay with.
Okay, so you're young, I'm young. My guests here are young too. We're all sorry, Joe. I looked away. It's like, excuse me. The people around you are mostly all first-time buyers, right?
Yes.
Where does a first-time buyer even start?
So I would say definitely with a lender, but if you don't know any lenders, go ahead and start with your agent. I'm sure that your agent or an agent will have at least 5 different lenders that they can go ahead and recommend you to. So keep in mind that you can definitely go ahead and shop around for your lenders within a certain amount of time to make sure that you get the best loan that fits your needs. Okay, so that's going to be very important. Ideally, we would like to see buyers start, or clients in general, start with the lending to make sure that they're okay with the financing. The last thing we want is to show somebody a $300,000 house that they absolutely fall in love with. They go and sit down with the lender. Let's say that they do qualify for it, right? But they're not okay with the monthly payment. Now, anything we show them under that $300,000 mark isn't going to meet their expectations, right? They're always going to keep on going back to that property. Man, I really like that $300,000, but your budget is really at $220,000. You know what I mean? So that's where it comes down to. Having a realistic picture of what it is that you're looking for really helps any heartaches down the road.
Yes. Okay, now, because you're also dealing with a lot of first-time buyers, a lot of young market, I'm sure you tend to run into a lot of people with bad credit.
Yes.
They're making good money now, and they can probably afford their monthly payment, but their credit wasn't there because of previous life decisions.
Right.
Do you have someone to help them fix their credit and go through a process?
Yes, absolutely. So I work with about 3 different credit repair companies, which I'd be happy to go ahead and connect anybody in that situation with. But just to go ahead and let you know, the minimum credit score for you to be able to go ahead and start a loan application at the moment is 500. So somebody with a credit score as low as 500 can go ahead and start their application. What lenders like to see is something around 620, right? So for FHA, which is a type of loan, they're requiring at least a 500 credit score. If you're going conventional, you can go ahead and go maybe up to as low as a 620. So that's where that kind of, I guess really comes down to the credit as far as the loan type. But yes, for somebody with bad credit, I'd be more than happy to go and connect them with a credit specialist.
Nice. This sounds so interesting. Joe, did you go through all of this when you bought your home?
Yes, it's a book that you have to sign every time you do a mortgage, and
yeah. So I mean, even just for the residential contract, it's a stack of maybe about 35 different pages that we go through, and we explain to the client.
Yeah.
So it can definitely get a little overwhelming.
I bet.
Yeah. So I mean, and again, this is just barely scratching the surface as to what it is that we do. Because if you were to be, one of my clients, and we were to sit down, a contract would take us about 30 to 45 minutes to go ahead and go over thoroughly, and then of course, answer any questions that you may have.
Nice, Joey. So where do your clients find you? Do they find you through social media, your phone number? What is your main source of network for new clients that want to
So for new clients, yes, primarily through telephone, but you can also go ahead and find me on Instagram at Sold by Joey. You can find me on TikTok at Sold by Joey. That's a relatively new profile, so forgive that there's nothing on there yet, but there will be.
Are you going to be making for TikToks?
No. I don't think that we're gonna be doing any dancing TikToks. We are gonna be trying to do more informational TikToks. So something, maybe, just kind of giving out information on maybe a weekly basis, something like that, to provide some benefit for our followers, and also, so that they know what's going on or what's changing in the real estate market.
For sure.
Just about every month, we do get reports as to what has changed year to date versus, obviously last year. So for example, in Edinburgh, let's say that there was, just to keep it at a round number, let's say there was 100 listings last year and now there's 150, right? So they'll tell us, different types of stats that go along with each individual city, which is really, really cool. So maybe publishing information like that, so that my followers can go ahead and, just kind of look that over and figure out, what their area has been doing.
And it works. A lot of TikToks are being educational. Like there's cooking TikToks that people look at, makeup TikToks. Like there's all these types of TikToks that people are now following to learn, which I think it's a good move.
No, absolutely. I mean, how can I say? I guess for the most part, a bunch of salespeople, and not just real estate agents, anybody who's in the sales industry tends to ask for business, right? But very rarely do they give something back to the consumer, right? So that's kind of the approach that we're trying to take. I would much rather go ahead and inform my clients, keep them educated on what's going on,
For sure.
and hopefully through that it'll go ahead and translate to more business, right? I mean, they see
And
that
I'm
I'm
sure you
knowledgeable.
feel funny, and I'm sure you feel like, oh yeah, TikTok, but no, it's doing its thing. And
Yeah.
Its purpose. I mean, you have a different purpose for it. Go for it.
See, and I mean, it's funny that you actually mentioned that. I was actually talking to my girlfriend not too long ago about that. So we've had classes on TikTok, and she was laughing. She was like, "Oh, is it like on dances and stuff?" And no, it has nothing to do with that. It's more than anything off of stats. So the people who were doing, I guess, TikTok during the pandemic era, when a lot of agents, myself included, were like, oh no, that's not going to catch on.
Yeah.
Man, if you see those agents now, they have a tremendous following, and they're getting quite a bit of business off of that, social media
they started.
platform. And I mean, it's simply something maybe as simple as showing a house that they're walking, right? Maybe they're showing it to another client and they just take a video of it, upload it, and now people have something to look at on your profile. Or I mean, like I said, maybe just even sharing some tidbits of information here and there.
Is that something you're gonna try to make also like on your Instagram platform?
Yes.
Educational videos as well?
Yes. So, I mean, I think that what we've seen a lot of is that the reels on Instagram just tend to be reposted off of TikTok.
Yeah,
So
for
that's
sure.
kind of what it is that we're going to, I guess, try to emulate as well. I would like to be able to go ahead and have kind of the same content across all platforms. So that way, no matter where it is that, people are finding me, they have
It's the
access to
same
the same information. Right. And I mean, of course, it's going to be posted on there. So if at any point somebody wants to, go back and see like, hey, you know what, maybe I've already posted, the same stats for the last 3 years. So now you can go back and look, hey, you know what has Alamo been doing or what has Edinburgh been doing over the last 3 years, right? Now you can see trends and see, hey, you know what, the city's growing, right? Or maybe, hey, you know what, it hasn't been growing at a fast rate such as Edinburgh or such as McAllen, right? Because again, all of that information will be on my pages.
Nice. That's good to hear.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
good to learn that everyone's growing with it. Joe, do you have any questions for Joey?
Yeah. Once again, just to, for the folks that are just tuning in, give us the information. How can they get a hold of you?
Whoa, that's okay. So once again, they can go ahead and get a hold of me at Sold by Joey on Instagram. So that's Sold by Joey, or they can also go ahead and find me on TikTok at Sold by Joey. But like I mentioned, that profile really doesn't have much on it as of yet. I am also on Facebook at Jose Estrada, so you can go ahead and find me on there as well. And then of course, you can find me on Zillow, Jose Estrada, and yeah. That's about it.
Nice.
Thank you.
I'm gonna look for you on Zillow.
No, yeah, I'm sure that you'll find me. I have friends that sometimes reach out to me and they're like, hey, I was looking for a property and you came up. And I was like, whoa, awesome. Right?
Nice. Message me, right?
So that is really cool.
Awesome, Joey. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Is there someone you want to give a shout out to? Any real estate friends that are listening to you right now?
Yes,
friends?
absolutely. So, of course, shout out to Personal You. Thank you very much for having me
thank
on.
you.
My
Thank you.
girlfriend for being here present with me. Friend Clarissa. And then, of course, for lenders, if you guys do have any questions and are looking for a solid lender, my boy Gerardo Zapata over with Interlink Mortgage does a great job. He's one of my preferred lenders who I've been working with for almost the entirety of my real estate career. For just over 5 years, I've been working with him. So I've been able to grow with him quite a bit. And he's a branch manager for his specific branch. So again, any questions that you guys may have, I'd be more than happy to connect you guys with them. So once again, you guys can contact me on Instagram at Sold by Joey, Facebook Jose Estrada, TikTok Sold by Joey.
Nice. Thank you, Joey.
Yes.
Joe, I'll hand it over right back to you.
All right.
C'est ça pour.
It's all good.
All right. So Thank you. We're falling apart over here.
Yes, we
For those
are.
of you guys that don't know, we today, a few hours ago, we walked into a flooded studio. So, and right before our first interview of the day, this is our third, and so we were just scrambling just to move equipment around, and luckily.
The show must go on,
Yeah,
so
the show
we're
must
still
go on,
here,
exactly.
broken, but we're running.
So thank you for bearing with us over our technical difficulties, and thank you. The doors are always open here. Come back and visit us again, Joey, and let us know of any
Yes.
great deals. Now I know that right now the market is it a seller's market or is it a buyer's market?
One second. Okay, so right now we have definitely seen more of a shift into a buyer's market. Now that's not to be confused. It is still very much a seller's market. So because there is still a lack of inventory, buyers are basically being pushed to purchase whatever it is that they can, right? Somebody who really needs a property. But as the as the interest rates have continued to climb and property values have continued to stay stagnant for the most part, we are starting to see it become more of a buyer's market. So I've been able to go ahead and get some really great deals for some of my clients recently, and that's in regards to closing costs, meaning that maybe within, right, so kind of just to keep it at a round number, if you're purchasing a property at $100,000 but you're going FHA, you can maybe go ahead and ask for up to $12,000 back from those $100,000 to assist you with your closing costs, right? So that's kind of where it is that it goes into what it is that you're able to go ahead and offer as a benefit for your clients. So we've been able to go ahead and do that to where during pandemic, man, it was almost impossible to get any money back. Sellers were like, nope, this is what I'm asking and this is what you're going to pay. Now sellers are starting to be a little more negotiable. So shifting back to a buyer's market.
Excellent. And are interest rates expected to drop anytime soon?
So I wouldn't say necessarily drop, no. Right now we have seen them go back to normal, and I say normal as far as pre-pandemic. During pandemic, man, interest rates were at an all-time low. They really, really were. Anybody who was able to refinance their property during that time frame, I feel, came out winning. So that's something that we have seen. But no, to answer your question, we don't foresee interest rates decreasing anytime soon. The Fed is actually still considering a couple of more increases before the end of this year. So we're still expecting for that to continue climbing. And I would honestly say, even throughout most of next year, we're expecting to see either a steady, for the interest rates to stay steady or start declining late 2023, early 2024. But as of right now, they're still hovering around the mid 5%. I have seen as high as maybe 8% right now. But again, all of that depends on your income and your credit.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. I appreciate that. And once again, feel free to give him a follow on social media, and ask away all your questions. I'm sure he's got some nice listings to show you. Elsa?
Awesome. Thank you guys for everyone that is listening and that continues to listen to us every Thursday night. That's a wrap for our show, and I'll see you next Thursday.
He'll grow to